Intelligence Human Voice Podcast Network. The Intelligence Human Voice Podcast Network. With the PatMan, the PatMan on the wheel of music and talks on the Intelligence Human Voice Podcast Network. This is the Intelligent Human Voice Podcast Network from the Bay to LA and beyond. I'm your host, the PatMan, and for the next 15 minutes or however long I feel like going, being that it is my network, I'm going to entertain you and try to edutain you on a few things of my upbringing. But first, I've got to plug the good people over at, I don't want to mess this up, so I am going to read it. LALawlibrary.org, all one word. They have a month-long series of classes. If you go to their website, they have a month-long series of classes that are free. Most of them are free. Some of them are like $10, $20. So I'm gonna run a few workshops just to let you know what's accessible here in LA. Here's the workshop: dealing with debt. Where do you begin? Paralegal lit. What anyone in business needs to know about trademarks and copyrights. Estate, probate, and trust. Where you begin. Your divorce options. What you need to know. Citators. Expand your research and cite good law. Landlord, tenant. Where you begin. That's just some of the classes and workshops that the LALawlibrary.org offers for free and for content. You have to check the website yourself. I wanted to plug them because I had never heard of them, and I'm heavy into legal law rights, the whole nine. But you know what? Maybe I'd heard of them and hadn't returned, but I went to court and there it is. So if you need help in all aspects of law, with business, personal, whatever, you know where to go. I just gave you that plug for free. That's right, for free. This is all for free. For now. Anyway, gotta quote the lovely, beautiful, transitional spirit of Maya Angelou. That's right. Turn the music down for this one. You don't need to hear this one. Here we go. It's from Maya Angelou, the poet, the American poet, the singer, the African-American, also awesome, the calypso dancer, activist. Let me just say it. If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. Holy moly, I can actually stop the podcast on that note because I'm sure someone needed to hear that, or someone could need. Hey, I like it myself. I'm taking it. You know, if there's something you don't like, well, change it. I recommend writing it out. There's a list that I created 2 years ago when I resigned from my day job of 8 years. I wrote a list. And it was a list of people I felt like, you know, as I start this business of podcast and bakery biz, people I could rely on, people that I couldn't. And a lot of folks did not make that list. They did not make that list, but that's okay. And to Maya Angelou's quote, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, then change your attitude. I felt like my attitude was perfect, but, there were some people that were just, not just following up on some stuff. And this stuff is easy. It's communications, etc., 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 communications. There it is. Today's show, we're going to talk about comics because that's what I like. I'm going to talk about comics because yesterday I joined the DCUniverse. So I'm an official member of the DCUniverse.com, which gives you access to all of DC movies, Warner Brother movies made for the DC comic pop culture. Here's the thing. I'm going to give you the breakdown too. I like it. I'm on a trial run for 6 days in, but most of the content that they have, the movies and animation, they have a lot of awesome shows that are coming, like Swamp Thing and Doom Patrol. I binge watched last night several episodes of Titans, which I thought was cool. Starting off kind of slow, but a little dark. DC is this whole dark thing. Marvel maybe on the dark level, but DC doing all this darkness. Why is everything so dark? And so that's my take. I think it's awesome. I own a lot of the content. I have limited edition with the figurines of a lot of animated movies that I purchased over time. But what's really cool is they have seasons remastered. So they have the whole, I don't know if they have the whole, I think they only have 2 seasons of the Batman animated series. They have 2 seasons of that, but the Batman animated series just kept going and going, and it was super awesome. Should have never canceled that one. I mean, they could have just kept going. But there were other shows that came out after that, like Batman the Brave and the Bold. And they have it on DC Universe online. So, or DC Universe. Let me, hold on a second. Make sure I'm getting that right. Here we go. Yeah. DC Universe. DCUniverse.com. So, yeah, they have if you haven't seen the animated movie, The Death of Superman, they have Batman Ninja that came out this year. Woo-hoo! If you haven't seen Batman Ninja, then it's definitely worth, the money you would spend on one of these movies is definitely worth the price of $7.99 a month plus taxes, whatever. If you like comics as much as I do, and DC in particular, it's worth your money. It's worth your money, or you can pay annually. I believe it's $75, save 20%. If you go annually. I'm not sure if I want to add another subscription to my repertoire of subscriptions. I had to cancel Pandora. It was just skipping way too much. So now my subscriptions consist of Gaia.com. Love Gaia. I'm like a year now into Gaia. I think I've watched more content, learned, educated myself on more content on Gaia than I have in anything I've watched on my big screen. The other one is, of course, Netflix. How can I get rid of Netflix? Sometimes I want to dumb down and watch something really silly, and I don't watch scary movies, though. I've never been into scary movies, man. Why do you want to get scared to death? Near death? I don't want to get scared to death. Heart palpitations, but, that's what the industry is based on, emotions, and playing on those emotions of yours. Yep, but can't fool me, bucko. Can't fool me. Although I don't want to see scary stuff, so certain scary stuff I don't let in. Wonder Woman, they have the animated series that came out in 2009. Not a series, I'm sorry, a movie. Wonder Woman, before the actual Wonder Woman movie came out. The live action Wonder Woman. So DC is doing good. I'm both a DC and Marvel fan, have been for decades. There's a guy I know. I was speaking about that on the last EpiShow. My boy Dub Miles. His brother is a comic book collector. I don't know if he's still collecting, but he has collected enough to. I saw his. I haven't seen the actual collection, but I saw the boxes of which the collections are in, and this is the guy that, you know, a lot of you guys probably envy, because you got to have room if you're a collector. You got to have room to store this stuff. He has the room to store it and had the room to store it. I know guys who, you know, their mothers and their grandmothers threw their stuff out. You know, we're talking about $15,000 rare comic books that some of us like. Yeah, thrown out. Boy, stop reading those comic books. They ain't gonna worth a damn. Your brain gonna fry. Not true, not true. Some of the best dudes in the industry are actually the creators behind some of the best content that you've ever seen. And a lot of them are African American brother who's behind a lot of the DC animated movies, but they've been at this for a long time. I love what DC has done with the animated flicks, because I'll watch animation before I watch live action stuff, because the imagination is so much more expansive than, you know, you're limited with green screens and technology. But to go from hand to ink to animation is genius. And the writers are genius. And actually, everything starts in storyboard form. You know, everything. You know, this podcast, I've written storyboards for production for some of the future shows. It starts off in storyboard. I guess if you learn that, you never leave it. But totally applicable to life itself. Any business that you have, write it out, draw it out. Lines, squares, conversations. Write it out. See if it makes sense. And then hit the record button. Or do like what I do with music, such as the music that you're hearing now. Just hit the record button. See what the consciousness of the divine creator can pull out of you. And just hit the record button, see what happens. A lot of music that I've created over time, just hitting the record button. A lot of drawings that I've done over time, just sit down and start drawing. You know what I want, I think about it, and then it goes to paper. Done. It's amazing. So for all you yahoos who have never picked up a comic book before or gone to a comic book store, shame on you. Get your buttocks to a comic book store. Support the writers. Support the behind the scenes of the entire, one of the most awesome pop cultures that the world has ever seen. And for that one comedian who made a crack at Stan Lee, I'm not even gonna mention your name, dude. BU, that is not funny. That is just, you know, shock jock, whatever, wants attention. Totally disrespectful. But Stan Lee, his presence is everywhere. And if not for Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and all these guys in the early 60s, you know, even, you know, Walt Disney himself, if not for their imagination and people coming on board and like-minded individuals who saw a vision in animation, music, and song, and bringing that all together. If not for these guys, I mean, I think it'd be a pretty big, boring world. Real boring planet, you know what I mean? So shake it up. Not everybody can be like us who like comic books and sci-fi and fantasy and all that stuff that just makes you feel good. And the storylines are awesome. And Batman Ninja, you know, I happen to look over at the screen right now, and they have the DCUniverse.com open, so it shows like a quick still of and there's Batman Ninja. I gotta watch that again. Anyway, Well, 15 minutes go by fast. That's what I'm saying. 15 minutes, I can ramble. But for the next episodes that are epishows, that's right, copyright trademark here, epishows, I am going to be writing those out. I've written them out, but staying on point with bullet points since I have like 8 followers. Thank you, you 8 followers who are subscribing to the Intelligent Human Voice Podcast Network. The idea is to build up more content that is relative to those in small business, the artists, arts and science. I love art and science. I love it, love it, love it. Especially the new science. Greg Braden talks about so many wonderful things. Greg Braden, his book Human by Design. I've been reading it. I've read or heard a lot of stuff from Greg Braden on YouTube, and I missed him. He was here in LA, I believe, around this time last year. But I have his book, and Human by Design is, oh man, science turned upside down. All the stuff that they were trying to shove into our head, 40 years ago, maybe even longer. Well, it wasn't true. And Greg Braden talks about that in his book. So I love science, art, music. Like I said, a lot of the music that you'll be hearing on the Intelligent Human Voice podcast was created by yours truly. But I have a huge expanded music background, which allows me to master, mix, engineer, and record my own stuff along with the human voice, which is the most powerful instrument man has ever seen. The rest of these tools that we use, they're there for our use, for everyday use. But if I didn't have this microphone to digitize over waves, sounds, vibrations, we are vibrations. But if I didn't have this technology, it would just be technology. The human voice is the most powerful tool at our disposal, and I want to use it as much as possible to create these awesome podcasts and pump some of these businesses that I've interacted with over the past 10, 15 years while living here in LA. From the Bay Area, I want to give some shout outs to some people that should be subscribing, should be listening to my podcast. I want to give a shout out to my boy Keith Abrams. I want to give a shout out to Wardell Miles. I want to give a shout out to Prakash and Rashna. I want to give a shout out to my boy Aaron, who was starring. I think he's doing either the Color Purple live, The Lion King. I'm sorry, man. I think it was The Color Purple. Sorry, Aaron. Aaron's an actor. He's written a book. Very awesome dude. Going to have him on the show. I want him on the show as a regular. So, Aaron, I hope you're hearing this. I need you on the show as a regular, and I'm going to help you start your own podcast. So, because very bright, brilliant dude from the East Coast. I believe he's from the East Coast. But he's been living here in LA for quite a while and doing his thing. Also, want to give a shout out to Genesee, my boy Jen Lewis, who is celebrating, I think, almost a year of his bringing, I call him Lil Jen Star, into the world. Yeah, it's a blessing. It's great. It's great to hear a lot of my friends having children, bringing children into this world, because I know they are super awesome human beings, and they're just gonna, direct that and guide that into their seeds here on Earth. That's right. Before I go, I always want to exit with something really awesome. So during these 40 days of podcasting, I have a card that I pull. I pull from a deck of cards that are called reminder cards. And I also want to get the woman who created these cards onto a podcast show and talk about more about what she does and how she's helping and consciousness awaken in this time of It's actually great times. People say, oh, this is the worst times ever. No, it's not. No, I disagree. So I'm going to read this message I received a couple days ago. That is pretty much says it all for what I'm doing and what I want to do in the nearest future. The message is, life is a production. It is time to start directing your own production instead of being directed. Think of the world as being your stage, and you are creating your own production. Imagine who you want to be in the future, where you will be, and what you will be doing. I've seen the future, and it is awesome. The Intelligent Human Voice Podcast Network is just the beginning. There's so many projects that I have that's going to tie into this project itself, but having a podcast to project those ideas and dreams and bring them together, and people, places, and things, and bringing them together is the way to go. It's projected that the podcast industry will reach $600 million in revenue by 2020. I actually see that number quadrupling, even more than that. The more people get on board and really know what, or really see what you don't even have to know why podcasting is. It's just to know what it is. And what it is a voice. Your voice to millions of people. Let's use the Flash or Superman, the fictional Superman and Flash as that. Superman, he's one man. The Flash, he's one guy. Yeah, they can do things fast. They can be in so many places at so many times, but so can you in a podcast. You do a podcast, you record a podcast, and depending on what platform you're using, I'm using the Spreaker platform because it's awesome, and the folks at Spreaker are awesome, and I've been using it for quite a while, working out all the kinks. You can set it up so when you record a podcast, you can do it live, or you can do an episode. It's episodes or shows or whatever. I call it EpiShows because it's like a cross between the episode and the show. So EpiShows. I said that right now. But you can record a show, and when you record, you can set it up to go to all your social media platforms. So right now, I have it set up for my Twitter. I have it set up for Facebook. I have it set up for YouTube. I think it's tied to Google. And the more consistent you are with your shows, the more you can be picked up on the bigger podcast platforms, such as iTunes, iHeartRadio, and with the opening of Google is doing something super dope. So I'm jumping on that big time. And Spotify is looking for podcasters. So I'm excited because I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And they got the card the other day to put me into the right frame of mind to do what I need to do with podcasting and be a voice of all the experience that I've lived over time. I got to shut this podcast down, though, because I'm going past 15 minutes again. I don't care. This is what happens. But I'm heading out to my boys, B Dizzle and his wife, Veronica, to their home. Her Veronica makes the best turkey chili. So we're going to hang out. Me and a few of the boys going to hang out, have some chili and get caught up with old times and just have some fun. This is how I've been having fun lately. And I'm going to have more fun because I might do a podcast while I'm there. Do it live, right? Yeah, I'll do it live. This has been the Intelligent Human Voice Podcast Network. I hope it's coming through awesome and clear. If you're listening to it in your car, on your phone, in your smart speaker that you bought during Black Friday. I don't even want to get into that Black Friday. I didn't know people are still doing Black Friday. It's a bigger holiday than Christmas. Ain't that something? And then the people setting up Christmas before Thanksgiving was here. You know, it's like, yo, whatever. We're going to talk about that too. Commercial consumerism in the future. Because I got some ideas about that, and it's not what you think it is. So, nothing is, right? Nothing is what you think it is. Anyway, if you're listening, thank you for tuning in. If my grandma, peep this, if my grandma, who's 90 years old, who has computer access and knows how to work it, can tune in to the podcast, my podcast network, then so can you. She's 90. So, what does that say about you? Maybe the content isn't for you. Well, tell me what you want to hear, and maybe I'll talk about it. I know a lot about a lot of stuff. We don't know nothing about nothing, but I know some things, and I'm going to share those things, and maybe it relates with you, maybe it don't. Well, it's all talk. Get on the show. We can talk about what you want to talk about. How about that? That's how it works. I hope you are living in abundance and heading towards a huge amount of the prosperity that you are in your life. It's your birthright. And if anyone is ever telling you to stay in your lane, don't listen to that person. Those are people who stay in one lane while they're on the freeway. You know what I mean? This freeway is made for everybody. If you want to jump over into this lane and go a little faster, well, go a little faster. But you know what? It's your car. It's your road. You go where you want to go. If someone tells you to stay in your lane, tell them to, mind their own business. You know what I mean? Mind your own business. That's a statement for you. Mind your own business. I think you should explore everything and anything, as long as it doesn't harm you or bring harm to anyone else. I think you should just explore everything, as I have. Baking, cooking, podcasting, radio shows, art, advertising, science, the restaurant business, food and beverages, facility management. Yes, go for it all. Learn as much, absorb it. That way you can have awesome conversations with awesome people like I'm going to have. That's right. They're coming. Also want to give a shout out to my buddy, Larry. Larry, hope you're doing good, buddy. Check in with me. Love to have you on the show. You have a lot of great stories, a lot of great ideas. Very inspiring guy I met 9 months ago. And we worked together. And I'd love to have you on the show. Along with a lot of you folks out there, I'd like to have you on the show for the next 40 days. Hey, give me a call. But if you don't show up, or you say you're gonna come and you don't show up, that's it. I can't do it. I had somebody that, last year around the time when I was gonna launch the show officially, had a few interviews. This guy didn't show up, didn't call. I'm sitting there waiting. And I told him, I said, dude, it's going to rain. He's like, oh, I'm bringing my daughter. I'm like, dude, it's going to rain. Let's do this another day. This guy never showed up. And then the next day I'm thinking maybe he got into an accident because it was really bad. Rain just started coming down. No, I go to his Facebook site and this guy is, posting stuff like regular. Like we didn't even have this conversation of him coming on the show. So that's my breath of intake on, if you want to be on, let's be on. Let's stick to a time. If not, we can do it on Skype. There's so many ways to get you on this podcast show. The Intelligent Human Voice podcast, if I haven't said it before. The website is coming up this weekend. That's right. You'll be able to see the things that are going on. The Vegan Street Fair is tomorrow, every Sunday in North Hollywood. Just take the Metro line, I believe it's the red line, all the way to the last stop, which is North Hollywood. Walk across the street and you're going to find food unlike you've never tasted before, but totally vegan driven, gluten-free cookies and all kind of awesome stuff. I was shocked to see so many people out there, but I want to make it a every Sunday thing. Go to the Vegan Street Fair and go to my park, chill out, get into nature. That's my new church. That's right. What's your new church? My grandmother says her church is at the casino. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. She wins all the time. So hallelujah. That's blessings. Grandma said her church is at the casino. That is classic. You know what? My church is in the Vegan Street Fair and the park. talking to the squirrels, the trees, the grass. Yeah, the grass talk to the rocks. A few dogs that walk by me every now and then. Dogs always look back and go, "Hey, what's up out on the roof?" You know, I'm like, "Hey, man, chilling. Don't leave your crap around. Tell your master to clean up your crap." Anyway, I'm getting on because I'm gonna be late. I'm trying not to be late. I'm gonna hit the road right now and see what's next. Hope you have a wonderful day. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Hope you are using your voice, your intelligence for good on the planet, because we need more awakened individuals, no matter whatever you want to call the divine creator that has brought us all together on this planet at this awesome time right now. I hope you are doing great, and can't say enough of it. Talk to you soon. Peace, love, and voice. You thought I was going to say soul, huh? You thought I was going to say soul. Nope, I didn't say it. No. This is the PatMan Peace, Love, and Soul for the Intelligent Human Voice Podcast Network.